Americans, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Make it clear that the views expressed by our host are not the official stance of NBR views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Hey guys, Noelle here. In honor of our soldiers, our military personnel that are currently deployed right now, I wanted to take the time to personally thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for all that you guys do, even the veterans. I also wanted you guys to see our team and what they had written to you guys personally. I wish you all nothing but love and respect.
So welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. 'Cause these are my people.
Hey, welcome to the Big Grizz Show. It's Red Friday, you guys. Remember, everybody deployed. They're so near and dear to all us vets that it's a big thing. On that, I want to say June, in my opinion, is Men's Health Month. And not to mention, it's the Army birthday. So happy birthday, all you Army vets. It's our birthday. So today on the show, we have Eric Morton. He is going to have his own podcast soon. So we're bringing him in here and want to get him going on that to see how it goes. And we have Reverend Dr. Darlene Williams Prodis. Did I say that right?
You said it right. You said it right.
So I just had to make sure. I didn't want to mess it up.
And that is okay. You could have just said Darlene and you'd have been fine.
Well, so we got, can you, on this now we got everybody introduced. Can I get a background of your military history, when you enlisted, what you did? I mean, all your avenues in the military?
Well, my avenues in the military, I joined the United States Air Force in 1982. And I remained in the United States Air Force until I had an injury and was out in 1985. That injury left me at a point where I could function and do everything I need to do, but I had triggers. And those triggers made me make a choice. It was like, I'm going to let people continue to trigger me, or I'm going to go do something else. I spent a lot of time working on the flight line, unloading and loading planes, driving step vans. Then I was moved to work with colonels, delivering packages and back and forth to them that were secret and top secret. From that point, I went on to do admin work, and because they thought that would be less stressful and less triggering. And I just made a conscious decision. Nothing here is going to be less stressful, because every time I turned around, my husband was being deployed. So there I was in Wonderland in Hawaii, and you would think the greatest place in the world, but when he wasn't there, it wasn't.
Oh, fun, man! I've that's one state, Hawaii and Alaska. Those are the two states I've never been to. I would love to go to both of them.
Been to both. Been to both.
Those are out of
Elmendorf. I've been to both.
No, that's awesome. Out of everywhere I've been, those are only two spots I have not been. So what you said your job in the military was, you were like a mail carrier?
Pretty much, if you broke it down, that's exactly what I was. If you look at a UPS truck, that's what I was driving every day. And I would load it up with airplane parts and take them out to the flight line, help them load it on the plane. At one point, the Marcoses came over and I was helping to load shoes. And when I tell you Emil DeMarcos had a lot of shoes,
shoes.
Had a lot of shoes. I was like,
right.
this is an interesting woman. Her fetish is shoes, and she has. I'm talking big boxes. Like there's two of us, and there's these large boxes. We're loading on the plane, and we're taking off, putting them in housing at Hickam for a little while. That's where they stayed for a while.
Oh wow! And you had said your husband was military as well?
Yes, he was Air Force as well, and he was in CE, so he was always going. Every time you turn around, oh, I got a TDY, I got a TDY, I got a TDY, and I was like, okay, this is getting daunting, because I'm the only one here, and we had kids, so it was just a lot.
Yeah, no, that would be hard. Being an actual military couple where both of you were military.
Yeah, we were both in the military.
Were you guys military at the same time?
Yes.
How did you go from knowing how the militaries ran to becoming a veteran and your husband staying in? How did you adjust to that?
Well, there was a breakdown. With him always being gone, there was a breakdown. So we ended up not being married anymore. We're still friends, very, very much friends, but He stayed. I got out and I went on to become a singer, a performer, and doing some other things that I knew I could do. And I enjoyed them more. They did not trigger me. So wherever he was going, we traveled. But when we got to a certain point in Texas, I was like, nope, time to go. It's time to go. This doesn't work. The always being gone and me just being kind of stuck here. No. If I'm going to be a single parent, then I'm just going to be a single parent.
So you said you were a singer and an entertainer. What did you do on that aspect? Because now I'm really curious. I've actually had this lady was nominated for Female Country Artist of the Year, up and coming with the Josie Awards. I had her on my show, and she actually played her newest single for us. So I'm really kind of curious on what you did as an entertainer, singer wise.
Well, I was already singing in Tops and Blues in the Air Force, and so
really?
when I got out, I just continued to perform. I got with different bands, and we would do different tours, small tours. When I got to California, that's when I started doing bigger things. I had a different group, I had a different manager, and that manager had us, working, singing at different conferences and opening up for people like Shaka Khan in the Four Tops. And we were like, oh, this is cool. But I recognized with 3 children and being the parent I couldn't just like, oh, I'm going to take this off and I'll drag them with me. It wasn't that kind of thing. And so I said, well, make up your mind. And I made up my mind to just turn in a different direction. Became a certified mediator. Worked in business, owned my own couple of businesses several years ago, and then started a whole new business after that.
Wow, that's man, you have a story. This is interesting. So you're a doctor. What is your PhD in?
Ministry.
Oh, really?
It's in ministry. Yep.
Oh, wow. So
I'm an ordained minister. So I love to help couples. I don't like when people just instantly get divorced from the first little grain of salt. My dad taught me, the military taught me, sometimes you got to fight. If you wanted this, you're going to fight for it, not against it. We get enough wars coming our way that we didn't even create. And that's why we send our people out to fight. And people like you and I, we all stand up and we bleed just like everybody else for a war that we didn't even create. So why are you going to have a war at home with your mate? Figure it out. That's what I'm there for. So I do that. I do couples coaching, relationship coaching. I do mediation. I also do impact speaking. I speak to spoke to a group of female veterans a couple of years ago to motivate them, and just spoke on the stage at the University of Michigan about faith over fear and relationships. And the foundation is I slipped, my landlord at the time did not clean the ice from my apartment steps, which was a part of his contract. They were cement steps. I slipped on those steps, went 10 feet in the air, and hit between my C3 and C4 vertebrae, of which I was told, had I been moved the wrong way, I would either be a quadriplegic or deceased.
And you're neither one.
And I'm neither one. The thing about me is I didn't take any medication for pain because literally I had broken my ankle, compound break to my ankle. The top of my foot popped out my kneecap and broke 2 toes. And rather than let them give me pain meds, I just started cracking jokes. That was my coping mechanism, to just crack jokes. And I went from, I don't want to say, but I let's just say I used Richard Pryor's dirtiest jokes. How about that? And this is family radio, but I did Richard Pryor's dirtiest jokes, and I had the guys couldn't figure it out. You got these EMTs, and they're like, "Okay, this lady is making us laugh." And I said, "Well, you know, what are you doing?" And I just bought these new pair of Uggs. I spent $121, and these guys were cutting them off the foot. So my question was, "Why are you doing that?" "Oh, we have to take it off." I said, "Well, I just paid for these. Can't you just pull it off?" "No, we can't pull it off." So they cut down both sides, and one pulled the front, one pulled the back. Sure enough, what they said was true. I had a compound break to my ankle. The top of the foot was broken, and the 2 toes on that same foot was broken, and the right knee was popped out. And they kept saying, well, if we pick her up wrong, she's either going to be a quadriplegic or dead. And I had to make them know, hey, there's no toe tag here that I know of. So they got me in the little metal box and got me to the hospital. So one of the things that I will always cherish and remember is when they put me in the hallway, one of the young men walked back and he goes, "You know, you were the best part of our day." And I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because usually when you get people and they're in pain, they're screaming, they're yelling, they're uncontrollable, or they're passed out, you crack jokes the whole way like nothing was wrong." I said, "Trust me, my mind in the back of my head somewhere is going, oh, screaming, hollering. I said, "But I couldn't do that at that moment." Relationships are about 30 seconds long. When you walk in the grocery store, you build a relationship, and most people don't even recognize that. Every time I go into any store, if a person has on a name tag, I call them by their name because a name is the sweetest thing you'll ever hear. Your own name. Restaurants, gas stations, wherever I meet people, if there's a name tag, you're going to hear my mouth say your name. I'm always going to say please, and I'm always going to say thank you.
Yeah, no, that's funny that you bring that up. I had some serious medical issues that had happened to me, and I ended up half blind. I stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks. It was all sorts of a mess. And my dad at that time had said that when that happened, when I got out of the hospital, that I would do something with my voice. Well, that was 3 years ago, and it's turned into this for me. And it's God works in mysterious ways. Nobody will ever know. There's a reason you're where you're at right now, and you're not a paraplegic. And there's a reason I didn't die from the multiple strokes I had. There's a reason behind it, and we got to find that, and we got to move forward on that. And that's the awesome part. My faith has gotten so strong since I had my strokes that it's been an amazing ride.
I will agree with you 100%. My journey to here has been interesting for me. I'm an adopted child. I didn't know I was adopted until I was 32, but by then both of my adoptive parents were deceased. They died when I was 16. That is why I went into the military so early, because my plan was literally become a journalist. And once both of my parents passed away, my whole perspective on life changed. And I decided to join the United States Air Force. That's awesome. I love it. On that note, we have to take breaks. We get told we have to. We're going to run a quick break. I'm going to actually play that song. This isn't the song, but it's a lady I had on my show 3 weeks ago now. She sung a different song.
but this is her name's Lauren Rose Thayer. And you guys, you're watching the Big Grizz Show on Military Broadcast Radio. Look us up on YouTube, Facebook, at any platform. And you guys, we have so many shows and so many opportunities for vets to listen to a show to get help. So on that note, we're going to run this break and we will be back soon.
Too big, wanting to grow up way too quick, searching for spotlights since I was 6. Hello, my name is Dream Too Big. Hello, my name is way too loud. My voice can cut right through a crowd. Got made fun of for it, but who's laughing now? Hello, my name is way too loud. I know I've had my moments and I've had heartaches. God is making miracles out of my mistakes. You can say I won't make it, and I can tell you that I don't really care. 'Cause hello, my name is going somewhere. Far. Lost all my words in a mason jar. Locked eyes with a stranger at the end of the bar. Hello, my name is You'll Go Far. Well, hello, my name is One More Try. I put too much stock in bad advice. 'Cause anything worth leaving is worth loving twice. You're never gonna leave the ground. You can tell us all about it when you come back around. Hello, my name is Get Knocked Down. Hello, my name is Stand Back Up. Keep moving even when it gets rough.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hey, welcome back to the Big Grizz Show. That was Lauren Rose Thayer with Hello, My Name Is. And you guys look her up on YouTube. She's an amazing up-and-coming singer. On that, Eric, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask Dr. Charlene? Or Darlene, excuse me.
Yeah, so I worked on the flight line, or I work on the flight line still. So I know the stresses and everything like that. And a lot of people just can't figure out how to cope with stresses like that. So what would you tell somebody that is dealing with stressors like that? How would you tell them to, or what would you tell them to kind of get over some of that and get themselves back in line?
Well, usually when people come to me, they're at a breaking point. And they're usually it's couples, and the one person is military and the other person isn't. So they really don't understand the stresses that as a military person you really go through. They think that you go to the office, you sit in a chair, and everything's great. And I explained to the military member, because I separate them. I said, hey, I'm going to meet you individually. And I go, okay, first of all, tell me what you're thinking, then tell me what you're hearing, and then tell me what you're feeling, because none of them are the same. When you're on the flight line, or when you're in a firefight of any kind, your mind and your body are not thinking the same thing. You're either going to be fight, flight, or freeze. And I need to know when they get to me, where are you? Where are you when you're on the flight line? Where are you when you're at home? And I never get the same two things. When I'm on the flight line, I'm fight, because I know that's my job. That's what I have to do. When I'm at home, I'm freeze, because I don't want the conflict. And so it's never, okay, look, you got to figure it out. So what I give them breathing exercises, number one. I teach them how to meditate, not on the problem, but on God and how God is going to work. God does not ever put you in a situation he's not going to take you out of. He doesn't. Sometimes he leaves you in a storm just to see if you're going to go, look, I give up. I surrender. It's done. But 90% of the time, if you just go, hey, I need some help right now. You don't even have to scream it. He hears you. If they're going through anything where they can call me. That's the one thing about me that makes my organization different from anybody else. I have a 24-hour phone. I'll answer it. It won't be Johnny or David or Susan and leave a voicemail. I'll answer my phone. I will get up. I say, hey, let's Zoom, because I want to see how the body language is working versus what's just coming out of your mouth. When I can see what your body is doing, if it's not doing what your mouth is saying, I know that you're not telling me the truth, or you're not telling me all of the truth. I want you to give me everything so you don't have that weight. So I teach them 5 steps. First step, slow yourself down. Slow your mind down. Remember where you are, remember who you are, and remember whose you are. That's number 1. Number 2, focus on your breathing. Feel your chest. If you feel your heart beating like a hammer, then what you want to do is slow that down, because you've raised your blood pressure and you're getting anxious and you're not really focusing, which means you can get hurt or someone else can get hurt. Number 3, if you feel like you need to be in a different space, take a break, step away, gather your thoughts, then go back. Number 4, call me, text me. Hey, doc, I need a few minutes. Bingo, you got that. Unless I'm with another client, you got that. And I own a husband. He knows how to do what I do. He's not military.
Husband? Did you just say you own a husband?
I own a husband.
Okay, I just want to make sure I heard that right.
I own a husband. I own 5 kids. It's okay. I own them all. I own them all. Even the 2 military ones, I own them too. I'm the queen over here. But he knows how to do what I do. He's not a minister, but he is a life coach. He is a relationship coach. So he understands, and I've taught him all the methods, and he recognizes when this is happening, this is not your area. Now, if the person requires medication, and this is number 5, if I feel like this person requires medication to slow down their thoughts or to help them sleep, because sometimes I get people that can't sleep, they can't eat, all they want, their mind is just going. Then I have other doctors that are my associates that I refer them to that do just that thing. And then they're good. So it's never going to be, you come to me and you never have a way out. I know all kinds of other doctors. In fact, and when we were in Michigan in March, I was surrounded by nothing but doctors. We all know each other. We all have each other's numbers. And I'm like, hey, if this is not working, send them to me. And it's vice versa. That way we know that everybody is taken care of. The people I work with, actually, one of them is a brigadier general, female from the Army. And she knows how to, her story is amazing, because when her boss told her, climbing up that wall, you will never make it past this point. And she told him, I'll still be in and you'll be out, and I'll be a brigadier general. And that's what happened.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
She became a brigadier general.
Wow, that's 20 plus years in the military, easy.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've got my son in the Air Force. He's over in Turkey right now, and he's like, okay. I said, look, you're 41 years old. What's your plan? He goes, oh, I can retire now. I've done 24 years.
Wow, what ranks your son?
He's a Chief Master Sergeant.
What grade would that be? E9?
E9.
Oh, no, I think that'd be a little bit
Chief?
higher.
Chief?
Well, E9's the highest you can go as an NCO.
Yeah, but you got to remember, he's got those years under his belt.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying, his grade would be an E9, but he's
it'd be E9. But and then if you look at me, I still work for FEMA.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, so I get deployed to different areas. I spent 2017. I spent in Texas and in Puerto Rico. In COVID and the pandemic, I spent my time in New Jersey. You know, so it's ongoing. It never stops. That's the one thing about my family. We're always on the serving end. My daughter is a nurse. My daughter-in-law is a nurse. My youngest son used to serve in the Army. Now he's getting ready to serve the Navy as outside, by the way, as a civilian. He's a nuclear engineer. We got another son who works with chemicals. He's down in Pennsylvania. Another son who's in New Jersey. He works with TSA. We're all that's all we do. We just give. Your family whole idea is to make people safe.
Yeah, your family serves the country, whether it's military, TSA, any of that. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, you make people safe. And my mom was a nurse, so for our family, it's about helping people. Not, I look at people sometimes and I go, "You really think this is about color?" Because I don't. I said, if I step on the field and get shot, I'm gonna bleed blood. If you step on the same field, you're going to bleed blood. So what's the problem?
Yeah,
as long as I respect you and you respect me, why are we having a problem?
Yeah, oh, exactly.
And when I have couples come to me, I think I had one couple in Pennsylvania say to me, you know, you're a really nice lady. I'm like, was that supposed to be me? I missed the memo. And they were like, no, because we went to this other counselor and she was like super tense and intense and she was really curt and short. I said, first of all, when I go to anybody, I want to know who I'm dealing with. That means I've got to be vulnerable enough to have them be vulnerable. I can't ask you to do something I wouldn't do. I'm not going to ask any member of the military hey, look, there's somebody around the corner with a rifle. You go check for me. No. We're going to go check this. Here, where I'm going to be, here's where you're going to be. We're going to get them either way. You know, you can't fight fire with a garden hose. That's never going to work. It's never going to work. So we just work as a bunch of Legos. That's what my whole family, we work as Lincoln Logs and Legos, trying to save other people. My oldest son, when he has been called for young members of the military when he was in Germany, and the young man had never been away from home. And he said, Chief, I just want to kill myself. He said, let me call my mom. And at the time I was visiting him in Germany. So it was funny. When he said, let me call my mom, he just called. He said, I'm bringing a guy home. You need to talk to him. what? Okay. And he brings the guy home.
Hey,
And
Lewis, thank you, and you have a blessed and safe day as well. You guys, we got to take another break. Take about every 15 minutes. So we're gonna run a short break, and we'll get back because Dr. Arlene, this is very interesting. I love your story and your background. It's an amazing thing. And on that, we actually have a new show coming up in probably a month, maybe 2 months. That is a female military couples coaching couples. She's going to school. She got a master's degree and something like that. And I honestly would love to have you back on when she's ready and have her up and have you guys just talk about experiences. I think you guys would that'd be really good.
well, just plug me in. I'll be there.
I appreciate that. So you guys, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with Eric and Dr. Darlene. You guys stay tuned. This is, I love this. This is a great one. And I got to find, here it is. There we go.
We were not made to live in isolation. Sadly, many of our veterans feel they need to fight their battles alone. This self-isolation has led to the staggering statistic of more than 20 veterans taking their lives every day.
A lot of guys end up drinking, a lot of guys end up losing hope. Some of them will go to the VA and they'll try to get, prescription medications to help with PTSD. They'll get pills for anxiety, they'll get pills because they can't sleep. Now they'll get pills for depression before they know it. They're taking 12 different medications. And when it's not working out, these guys lose hope. And that's why there's 23 guys a day committing suicide.
The mission of Mighty Oaks is to eradicate the veteran suicide epidemic and help our warriors change their legacies. As a result, we've been able to help over 4,000 veterans and first responders by equipping them with the tools they need to live the lives they were created to live.
Everything they said just kept hitting me in the heart over and over and over again. It's like all the things that I didn't know that I needed to hear. And I opened my heart to God that week, dude, and I've been a different person ever since.
Our faith-based, peer-to-peer approach has one of the highest success rates of any program available today, offering hope and understanding to those who need it most. We provide our programs and resources, including travel, at no cost to our warriors.
I remember talking to a licensed social worker who actually handed me a pamphlet to Mighty Oaks. So I went. Yeah, glad I did.
By aligning their lives to biblical principles, these men and women are able to lead their families, their communities, and our nation. Our mission is to serve and restore our nation's warriors and families who have endured hardship through their service to America, and to help them find new life purpose through hope in Christ. It's your generosity that can make a difference in the lives of the men and women who have fought for our country and our freedoms. Now that they're home, don't let them fight alone. Learn more at mightyoaksprograms.org.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hey, welcome back to the Big Grizz Show. That I actually had the voice that was there. His name's Jeremy Stallnecker. And he's the CEO and co-founder of Mighty Oaks, and they're a Christian faith-based foundation. They do. I'm a part of a foundation. It's called Lady Liberty Foundation, and we modeled our foundation after what Mighty Oaks does, because we're a faith-based, trying to get faith into vets that are unsure, and how much having Christ in your life helps you. It's amazing. And it truly is. Once you get past that part and you give your life and your soul and your spirit and you give it to one person, all those worries and those trials and tribulations that we all have to go through, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You just let it go. And getting that into vets, that's our main goal. That's what we're trying to do. And same thing Mighty Oaks does. And it's awesome seeing the collaboration of these foundations coming together and learning from each other. It's amazing. So I got a question, and I don't want to get too personal. If you don't feel comfortable answering it, you don't have to. When you were in the military, did you have any traumatic experiences that you have to deal with after being out of the military to this day?
My traumatic experiences did not manifest until about 3 years ago. I was every time I went to the VA over and over for different things, and it just wasn't working. They tried. They're like, okay, you can't sleep, you can't do this, you can't do that, and nobody could really figure out why. The why was deeper than the military. The why started based on all the therapy that I'd had. The why started when I was a kid, and and that's what I teach couples. I especially work with military couples. Is when you come into a relationship, you don't know what you're bringing with you sometimes. So once I went to therapy, I was diagnosed with PTSD. And my therapist let me know these are the things that started. In the military, for me, it was the yelling and the screaming from basic training. That was a trigger for me, but I never knew why it was a trigger. And so when people would talk to me in a certain tone, my face is the response. I didn't realize that when someone's saying a certain thing, my face will change, and then it gives off the signal of I don't like what you're saying, or you're approaching me the wrong way. But there were just so many things going on when I joined the military, like I said, because I lost both of my parents at 16. And so from 16 to 17, I was alone. And I was not picked up by Child Protective Services. Literally, I was already in my first year of college at 16 because I'd started playing violin, viola, cello, and piano at 6. And so my goals were different than my classmates. I graduated early. I graduated at 16 years old. I was great in school. Academics was my jam. But I had to have my neighbor sign off so I could join the military because, of course, you had to be a certain age.
Yeah.
And so she forged my mom's signature, though my mom had already been dead for almost 2 years. And I lived in my parents' home. I maintained my parents' home. That in and of itself was traumatic because there's nobody there.
Especially at that age.
Home. You know what I mean? There's nobody if something happened to me, there was nobody that I could say, oh, this so personal, come save me. Or there was nothing. I had nothing. And so that left me in a traumatic state of mind already. Then I joined the military thinking this is going to be a brotherhood, sisterhood, and I'll be surrounded by great people. And in the beginning, I was. And then when I got the next set of orders, I wasn't. I had a supervisor, I guess that's what I'll call him. I had a supervisor who was, for lack of a better word, demon-filled, because every time you turned around, it was Williams. I was like, okay, I have a first name. You can use that. You really can. But he wasn't that guy. He just wasn't. So he made it worse. When you got somebody who corners you and yells in your face, and you got nobody to call, that in and of itself is traumatic.
Yeah, I've looked up the different definitions that I could find of PTSD, and one of them that I found is a sustained stressful environment can cause PTSD, which no matter what, you join the military, it is a sustained stressful environment.
Absolutely.
You can't get away from that. And, you saying that about being yelled at and having that as a trigger point, I honestly never even thought about that. I personally, I do the same thing. If somebody starts yelling at me for something, my whole demeanor changes. It's like we can talk very easily and very respectful, but as soon as you start yelling, I ain't gonna listen to you no more, and I'm gonna go into fight mode because I don't have a flight mode. I don't either.
I don't either.
I'm going to be nice or we're going to fight. It is what it is. I'm not going to run from it, but I'm also not going to let you treat me that way or talk to me that way. And I've noticed that you talking about that, it was running through my head. I've really noticed that, especially like with my kids, when they start getting that way, it's like, oh, we're done talking. I ain't going to listen to you. And I've learned over the 15 years since I've been out that no matter who the person is, they're going to listen to you if you're talking. But as soon as you raise your voice, it's like a shut off switch and it goes into defensive mode for the other person, and they're not going to retain or listen to anything that you have to say. And it took me a long time to realize that. It took me a real long time because I was not the nicest person when I got out. You can ask my daughter. She did not like me up until about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And then she started realizing why I was the way I was. And now she can understand it. And we're best friends. I mean,
well, see, that's the thing. My youngest son, he didn't tell me about all of his missions, and he went on a lot of them. But he would drink excessively. And I'm like, what's this all about? And he wasn't drinking like beer. He was drinking hard stuff. You know, I'm like, wait a minute. You don't need what? And so finally, you know, I got into a conversation with him and he's like, Mom, this, and this. And I was like, oh, well, we're going to do something different. Okay. We're not going to do that because you have 3 daughters and a wife and a mother. So, and all of us are going to be fighting over you to get you where you need to go. And he just said, okay. So what I did was I prayed over him. And I said, look, God, you're bigger than me. I'm bigger than him. Well, actually, I'm not because he's 6'3", but I'm his mother. So that makes me bigger. And I prayed over my son. I prayed over all of my children because I want them to be safe. I want them to be happy, but I want them to be happy not because somebody else made them happy. I want their happy to be in them. When I talk to couples, I usually recommend, can you see this? I recommend this.
Emergency prayers.
Yep. There's an emergency prayer for every single thing you can think of. And people are like, why do you recommend? Because people need that. And they need to know that you keep saying, I can't see God. Yes, you see him when you wake up every morning. That's why you woke up. Before my feet hit the ground, and I wake up every morning at 5 o'clock. My feet don't hit the ground until 6 because I spend time with God, letting him know how grateful I am that I'm still here. I was in a car accident where the car flipped over 3 times, and the only thing that was wrong with the car is all 4 tires were busted. I work with gang male youth in San Bernardino, California. And you have to go through a whole program of fight, flight, or freeze. And they kept saying, we did your analysis and it keeps coming up. I said, fight. It's never going to change. I'm not going to back down. So they put me in this group home with these 12 boys. And these young men learned to love me to a point where when I said, hey, I got to go, they cried. Well, why do you have to go? Because I do. It's time. You know, I had one little boy, he threw a frozen water bottle at me. I caught it with one hand. I didn't throw it back. I didn't throw it back. I wanted to. I didn't throw it back. I really wanted to. But what I did was when I was teaching them how to cook gumbo, because I'm from Louisiana, he walked into the walk-in freezer and I dropped the pin in. Told him you need to cool off. You
locked him in the walk-in freezer?
I did. And it was the one with the window, so he could knock all he wanted, and I could smile. And when I let him out, I said, are you cooled off enough? I don't understand why you did that. I said, because you have to make a choice. I said, I'm giving you the same love I would give my children. I'm not looking at your past to create your future. I'm looking at who you are now and who I believe you can be. That same young man he finished his program where we were. He went to Free Sale down in Florida, and he is a graphic artist for Disney.
Oh, wow. Really?
Right. So you have people who you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid to help people. And even if they give you nothing back, what's the lesson? What is the lesson? Always learn a lesson from everything that you do. There's always a lesson. So when I have couples that come to me and they have problems, the first thing I tell them is don't blame your partner. There's a problem. That's what you need to fix, the problem. Don't try to fix your partner. Fix the problem. Don't focus on your problem without focusing on your partner. Together you can do it. They come to me. I have an 8-module program for some. I have a 16-module program for another. And then we have a program that is strictly for athletes, young athletes starting in high school, teach them how to manage their money. Kids going to the military, teach them how to really be in the military and focus. Is this where you want to be? Because, you know, some people join the military, they don't really know the rules of the game.
No.
They go, oh, it's a paycheck. I can get paid every 2 weeks. They're going to give me food. No. When you go into the military, you need to know what the rules are, because you can't do there what you do now. You're always going to be seen. It doesn't matter where you are. When I was in Mississippi, I was seen. When I was in Hawaii, when I was in Texas, when I was in Alaska, when I was in Oklahoma, always seen. And you don't know who sees you.
Oh,
You
yeah.
gotta stay on task.
No, you got to keep that rightness about you and have that mindset. And you saying that a lot of kids nowadays, they jump up, and we got to take a break after this. A lot of kids go into the military and they're all about that paycheck and school. They don't realize, and nobody tells them when they get into it, that there's a chance you can be in another country. There's a chance you can be at war. There's a chance for all this. No, they're like, oh, that free paycheck, I'll stay stateside, I want schooling. You guys got to remember that you enlist, you don't have control over what you do for the time you're in. If they say go, you're going.
Yeah.
Or you're going to jail. You pick. You're going somewhere. You're going where they want, or you're going in to get in trouble. So no, I've noticed that. And when we get back, I my kids have noticed something about me that I didn't realize, and I'll tell you guys when we get back off break. And then we'll talk more about your couples therapy and stuff, because I'd like to know more about that. For me personally, because I know I still have issues, and I feel bad for my wife because she doesn't know how to handle it. And she's getting better, but she doesn't know how to handle everything. Right. So on that note, you guys, you're listening to the Big Grizz Show on Military Broadcast Radio. We will be back in a short few.
Introducing LT Defense Tactical Gear, your ultimate solution for top-notch protection and performance in the field. Our armor bundles provide unmatched safety and comfort, while our battle belts and holsters ensure quick and easy access to your gear. Stay prepared for any situation with our high-quality medical supplies, designed to keep you ready for action at all times. Looking to enhance your skills? Our firearms training programs will take your proficiency to the next level. Trust LT Defense for all your tactical gear needs and gear up for success.
We live in a country with nearly 23 million veterans. Sadly, many of those who have served come home carrying the invisible scars of war. With 22 veteran suicides each day, these men and women often live in despair. Mighty Oaks Warrior Programs challenges these warriors to pursue a purpose beyond their service. By acknowledging the difficulties they face, we equip them to embrace a bright future. There is a solution to the brokenness experienced by so many. For more information or to be a part of that solution, visit us at mightyoaksprograms.org.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Make it clear that the views expressed by our host are not considered the official stance of NBR views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hey, welcome back to the Big Grizz Show. So what I wanted to say is up until 3 years ago, I was very not a talkative person. I didn't want to talk to anybody when I was out. I was in and out. I was very secluded to myself. I had my strokes. I found Christ. I've changed. Now my kids, we go out to a store or anywhere, and I'm just talking to random people. I'm like walking up to them, how you doing? Introducing myself. And my kids are like, you make friends everywhere you go. I said, I'm not making friends. I just feel pulled to come say hi to them, and we end up talking. And it's weird for me because I was never like that. I was never vocal. I was always, I wanted to go to work and I wanted to fish, and that was it. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to nothing. But now it's like every time we go out and I see somebody, and it's generally vets, and we end up talking. Like a couple weekends ago, we actually had a birthday party we had to go to, and we're in Safeway and we're getting stuff that we needed to go to the thing. And I'm big on time. I never want to be late. I always want to be early. I mean, military. And so we're getting the salads and stuff. I think we were getting stuff to make a Caesar salad. And I seen one guy, and he was an older man, and he had a hoodie on that really intrigued me. Well, come to find out, he was a vet for 20 some years. He was a SAR major. We ended up talking, and about 30 minutes after we were talking, my wife and my kids walked away. They had already paid for everything, came back, and they're like, hey, we got to go. We ended up being late to the birthday party, all because something drew me to him that I needed to talk to him. And do you see that a lot on either?
I get that all the time. Just like this morning, the young lady, I work for FEMA and I do my business. And she calls and she goes, she sends me a team message, and she goes, hey, can I talk to you for a bit? And I was like, sure, no problem. What's going on? And at first she was really hesitant because we're both from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay.
And she's just much younger than me. And she goes, I don't want to bother you. I said, but if you were bothering me, I'd just tell you no. Yep. I'm pretty good with that. I'm like a 2-year-old. You're not 2-year-olds. That's her favorite word. No. I said, that's not me. I said, when you see me in the office, do I strike you as a no kind of person? She goes, actually, you don't. I said, no, because I'm not. I said, but I know something's wrong, so talk to me. And she starts to tell me how lonely she is. She's far away from home. Her parents have both passed. She's got 3 boys. She's all by herself. And she's paying 2 mortgages, because she's trying to sell one house, and then the other house is where she is. And she's just stressed out. And the person that she thought she could talk to, the only thing they could tell her was, oh, it'll be all right. And then that's the end of the conversation. So she begins to now tell me what's really wrong. And when she's finished, I said, can I pray for you? Because, everybody don't want to be prayed for.
Yeah.
And she said, yes. And I started praying for her. And I stopped because she was crying. And I was like, let it out. You're tired. I said, but the easiest thing to do is just call him. He always answers. I said, unlike human beings, God is available 24 hours a day, 360. He doesn't need sleep ever. He's too busy creating miracles to go to sleep. I said, if this is what you need to do, we're going to get it done. But you got to straighten up your back. Put your chest out. Stand straight up and say, I'm not taking it anymore. I said, until Satan, the devil, and all his little buddies and his little gang, who, me? Nah, not me. Because, see, I got this big brother back here. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I forgot to tell you about Jesus. Oh, he's that dude that I could just sit right back and watch him beat you up. That's not a problem. I said, think of yourself like David. David walked up to Goliath. And every time I tell this story, like when I speak at universities, kids are enamored. They're trying to figure it out. But David was a 16-year-old who walked up to a giant man, and he let him know, when I kill you, I'm going to cut your head off with your sword.
Yeah.
I said, he didn't come with a gang. He just came with the power of God. I said, and if anybody ever looked at this sword, I really looked at the history, this sword was huge. I said, but that little boy and his slingshot took the giant out. And God gave him such strength and such power. He lifted this sword and cut this giant's head off.
And then had the strength to carry it into Israel.
And then he had the strength to carry it. His brothers didn't believe in him. His father didn't believe in him. The army didn't believe in him. He didn't need it. He went from being a kid to being a king. Now, in between, he messed up multiple times. Okay?
Really?
But here's the thing. His sons tried to murder him. Failed. Epic fail. Because he continued to live on and on and on. Yes, his heart was broken because my sons are trying to kill me. But he still had that power. So he was still a man after God's own heart because he knew who to go to every single time. We all get that way. With my business, with Superior Love Forever, it is built on Bible principles, the 7 steps of a healthy relationship. It's built on the 7 steps of how to argue fairly. It is built on a solid foundation of this is what, if you do this and if you follow this and if you stick to it, it works. I've had many a couple from Texas call me and say, we're not getting along. I don't know what to do. We've been to a therapist and it doesn't work. I'm like, what are you doing? Well, no, not what he did, not what she did. What are you doing? I give people individualized programs and then couple programs. So they come to me 3 times in a week. One for him, one for her, and one for them. Whatever they share with me in their sessions, I ask their permission. Do you want me to share this? Yes or no. Simple as that. If it's a no, then it stays in the box. If it's a yes, then it comes out of the box. And we talk this thing through. I give them tools to take home, and they have homework. And I know if you've used this homework, because when you come back, you're different. Every time you come back, you're different. The first program is 8 weeks long. It's 8 weeks. That's 2 months.
Yeah.
And in that 2 months, we don't lose touch. If you're out of town, that's fine. That's what Zoom and Google Meet and all this other stuff is for.
Okay, I was actually just going to ask that if you did it nationwide versus just where
no, I do it nationwide. It doesn't matter where you are. Okay. I've had students who were in Las Vegas, Nevada, and their dads have called and said, I don't know what's going on with my daughter. What can you do to help her? And I would get online with her. We'd get a Zoom, and she had homework, and she'd come back, and I'm like, okay, so let's talk this out. Let's see what you got. And in the 8 weeks that I had her, she thought, if I could do this for another 8 weeks, it would be amazing. I was like, well, you don't have to talk to your dad about paying for this other 8 weeks, but still, she was running track. She had a great athletic prowess, but at some point she made a U-turn and she wanted to drink and she wanted to do drugs and she wanted to be with little boys. And she wasn't doing what her parents expected her to do. Part of the problem was what her parents expected her to do. They didn't recognize, nor were they acknowledged. She is just as rebellious as you guys are. What you show your child is what they're going to be.
Oh, I believe that. That is a big thing. They learn by example and by seeing. And if they see, go back. If they see a man abusing the mom, the daughter's going to think it's okay. The son's going to think it's okay to do that, and it's all just, and that goes for us older generation. Yeah. If I see my dad treating my mom some way, I mean, I have my thoughts now, like that's not going to happen, but you can still see certain things. I mean, I've turned into my dad, and he's my stepdad, but he's my dad. Right. I did not like him when I was growing up at all. And then I'm looking at myself going, I'm him now.
Well, and that's the thing. I I learned from my parents a lot of things, most of it love and welcoming all kinds of people in our house. 90% of the time we had the UN in our house because my mom was a nurse and because of the school I went to and because my dad was an engineer. So we'd have one week some child from India, the next week some child from Puerto Rico. And I'm like, wait a minute. I got everybody in my house and everybody's eating. Everybody's laughing, everybody's talking. So when you get exposed to things like racism, you're like, wait, I was when I grew up with everybody. The world's not really like this. You're surprised. You're really surprised to find out when you go to other places what they think of you. They have a preconceived notion of this is how you're going to be. And I'm like, nah, not so good, not so true. So the places I've traveled to, I've always had a great time. And I've always been aware of what their customs and their traditions are so that I respect that. Because when they come to my house, I want them to respect my customs and my traditions.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I agree with you 100% on that. On that, our time's up. I would love for you to take a couple minutes and talk about what you do. And then Eric, when she's done, I would like you to take a couple minutes and talk about what is upcoming with your podcast that should be hopefully starting here. And then I would say in the next month.
Well, I am Reverend Dr. Darlene Williams Prattis of Superior Love Forever. What I do is I am a relationship and mentoring coach. I try to save couples who are in distress from either separation or divorce. I try to work with families and help mediate any of their conflicts. Most of the times when couples come to me, it's about some kind of conflict, emotional baggage, or the F word, finances. And so I try to help them through that. And I do help them through that with an 8-week to 12-week to 16-week process. And I look for commitment in them because I'm full on committed. I can be reached at superiorloveforever.net or superiorloveforever@gmail.com, or my number, which is 301-267-4195. That is 301-267-4195. I am always available to help those in need. And just know that if you are a military member or a veteran or first responder, there is a discounted price, and I will spend as much time as I need to make sure that you have the right life, the right balance, and the right amount of God within yourself.
Well, thank you. That's awesome. Eric?
So my podcast is going to be focused on mental health, because mental health is something that people don't want to talk about. It's kind of like that dirty word, everybody's, mental health, it's not that big of a deal. And it is. Especially with our veterans, we see our suicide rates are going up. Even with our current military members, we see it going up. And I myself have used the VA for my mental health, and this is how I want to give back. I want to give back in this way with my podcast. I want to be able to reach people, talk to them the way that you do, even if I got to sit there online for 2 hours and just talk to somebody and try to talk them off the ledge, because something I want to go back to what you said before is the fight or flight. A lot of people don't understand when you fight, you got to fight yourself at the same time. And that was my biggest problem. And that's why I want to be able to give things like that back. I want to be able to tell everybody, hey, it's okay. It's okay to have problems. It's okay to have these issues, and it's okay to talk about it too. Like Grizz said at the beginning, this is Men's Mental Health Month. And the biggest thing, for men to really give out or to talk about is mental health. And it's a struggle. Nobody wants to talk about it. That's why I'm here. I'm here to let everybody know it's okay. Come to me, talk to me. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with giving all the information that I have, especially since I'm a current military member. I have information from the military that can help other military members or even veterans. And that's why I want to do this.
I want to thank you guys so much for coming in here. So much good information. Dr. Darlene, I will definitely be in contact with you because I truly want to get you and this lady that's doing the same thing that we've talked about. I want to get you guys together because I think that would be an amazing podcast, and you guys can feed off each other and learn off each other. If you guys are, if there's different things, that's just, I can't wait. On that note, you guys, thank you so much for taking this time, and stick around. I'm going to run the exit out of here, and then we'll chit chat a little more. You guys, you're watching the Big Grizz Show on mbradio.us every Friday at 1600 Eastern Standard Time, which is 4 p.m. So you guys stay tuned and come back next week and look and watch.
That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new show. And remember, you can listen to us again and again. The podcast of this radio show is available right after we go off the air tonight, anywhere that you can get your podcast episodes. And thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take a moment to talk about something close to my heart. Military Broadcast Radio is doing incredible work to support our veterans and bring their voices to the world. They rely on your generous donations and your dedicated volunteer hours to make it happen. I encourage you to consider supporting NBR in any way, form that you can. Use this QR code that's attached to the picture, or you can go to our website at mbradio.us. That's Mike Bravo Radio.us to learn more about how you can donate or volunteer